Hi guys, I'm Wade.
Creed.
And welcome to Slightly Mediocre.
So today we're going to be talking about the Transformers franchise, the toys, the films, the new films, old films, and also kind of mainly the TV show, which kind of really brought the thing into the spotlight. So we're just going to be hitting all the marks on the different aspects of the franchise. And to start us off, Wade, you're a big fan of the Transformers franchise. What's your take on it?
So, you are right. I am definitely a huge fan of the Transformers franchise. I grew up with the toys, as I'm sure you did. They were kind of in our era. The younger kids don't really understand how awesome those toys were.
They got some newfangled toys nowadays.
Yeah, I know. They
old school.
Yeah, they don't have like action figures. They're sitting there like playing shoot 'em up games on their iPads and stuff.
And all that.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. But we had action figures. We had the TV shows, everything like that. Now the TV shows were a little older than us. They kind of came out in the mid-'80s.
Yeah.
So it would have been my uncles that would have had all that. But great thing about my uncles is I got all their hand-me-downs.
There you go.
So I got all the hand-me-downs of the TV show, VHS copies.
Excellent.
Yeah, we're talking that old.
Dude, that's where it's at, VHS. Don't hate on VHS.
Yeah, no. VHS was great until the tape came out, and then, you're sitting there pulling at it like one of those cassettes.
You rewind it sometimes when you give it back to the rental, you got to rewind it.
Be kind, rewind. Remember those stickers? Yeah.
A lot of people remember that, the Be Kind, Rewind.
Yeah. Anyway, we're getting off topic here. The main thing was, so one cool thing about Transformers is that it started with the toys.
Okay.
It started with, basically Transformers originated in Japan.
Yes.
As you know.
Yeah.
It started with these little transforming toys. And they were so intricate and small, and it was very similar to Micro Machines, if you remember those way back in the day, where there was there was just these little cars that would have like moving parts, and like little robots that would have moving parts, and they would be able to transform into these just everyday objects, toasters, cars, boom boxes,
planes, etc.
Yeah, everything like that. It was crazy. Eventually, the U.S. toy market caught on that kids love this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
So they ended up bringing them over to the States, and it was really cool because that's kind of where Transformers started. And it was really interesting because you have some of these directors that they see this stuff in Japan, they see this stuff in toy fairs around the world and in Germany and everything like that, and then next thing you know they're like, hey, we need to develop these toys, but we don't have any storyline. We don't have anything that these kids can actually have some tangible way to play with them. Because if you give someone a transforming toy, they're gonna be like, what's this, right?
Yeah.
So they basically just made up. They fabricated their own storyline. They fabricated everything, and that's where Optimus, the characters we love, Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Starscream, Jetfire, everyone like that. That's where they first originated from. It was really just to sell more toys.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, so it's really interesting to see how that developed into a TV show. And the reason why they developed a TV show is, how can you guess? Sell more toys.
Yeah.
So they developed a TV show and the comic books, actually.
Okay.
So that way they could sell more toys and actually provide a better, deeper storyline and meaning to these kids, watching Saturday mornings.
Yeah.
They were sitting there watching these cartoons, and next thing you know, it's just like, oh, I'm going to make my little Megatron pistol, fight Optimus Prime, and, I need both of them, so let me buy both, let me get my mom to buy both of them, or my dad to buy both of them, whatever.
It's a pretty smart marketing ploy.
Exactly. And, of course, that develops into the movies that we know nowadays with, some very unmentionable characters and some very nice characters.
Oh, yeah.
And I know what I felt about the movies when I first saw the first Transformers movie that came out a while back. It was what, mid 2000s, it was like 2008, 2009, something like that. I remember seeing those movies or seeing that first movie and just being like, oh, this is awesome. They're finally bringing back this franchise. They're finally, doing something with it. They're making it more modern. They're having fun with it. They're bringing modern technology and modern graphics into a franchise that is from the 80s, and Transformers was ahead of its time.
Oh yeah.
And it's about time that they brought it back. And watching those movies, seeing Jazz, seeing Ironhide, seeing Bumblebee, seeing Ratchet, seeing Optimus Prime, all those guys, and what at the time was brand new cars was awesome. So I don't know how you felt about it, but all I know is that seeing the Transformers was great. Seeing, Megan Fox and Shia's thing was not so great. That kind of ruined the movie for me.
So for me, I've always been a fan of the Transformers series. I used to watch a TV show back in the day, and then it's also common knowledge, a little bit not really common knowledge, but it's known that the Transformers was also kind of tied to the popularity of the Gundam franchise in Japan.
Yeah.
So the Gundam franchise was really big in Japan, the whole mecha universe with giant robots fighting, etc. So Hasbro, the company that really made the toys, they're the ones that kind of wanted an answer to that. So they kind of branched out from the mecha franchise, made a Transformers franchise, and that's where it grew, and that's how I got hooked. I'm sure many others, all the young kids back in the day got hooked to it because they're like, oh look, something it's kind of like the Gundam franchise is this new Transformers thing, or this Transformers, let's watch that too. So they got into that, and like Wade said, the whole marketing ploy about making toys and then building a story behind said toys is pretty good, because you're more inclined to buy something if you can make your own story. If there's a story there and you can play with two toys and say, hey, let's make our own TV show or whatever, why not do it when you got to buy more stuff to do it?
Yeah.
For the TV shows originally, to be moving into the movies, I think is pretty good. The way that it was modernized, the way that the design of all the different Transformers were, I guess, modernized, if you will, and transformed into, pun intended, transformed into the new CGI technique. Since the first film came out in 2007. So that was still, not really the early stages of CGI, but nowhere near what we have now.
Yeah.
And it was pretty darn good from a standpoint of watching it and saying, wow.
I mean, you look at Optimus Prime in that very first movie, you're seeing every little bit of his chest plate and every little bit of his mouth and stuff just moving, and you see all those little gears and stuff. I can only imagine the hours that it took to develop all that. For me, I was mesmerized by whenever they transformed, from their vehicle modes to their, robot modes, and just the way that the sounds they would make, and then the way that they were just made to look like in CGI was really great. The casting, like you said, was now I have a problem with the actual live action characters that were cast. However, there was one character I was very pleased that they cast.
Okay.
So the voice of Optimus Prime?
Yes.
He was the original guy who voiced Optimus Prime in the old cartoons.
There we go. Some continuity.
That is amazing. I love the fact that they kept that, because there's only one person that can have that Optimus Prime voice, and that is that dude. And they got that dude. It was great. And, the fact that they kept all the sound effects, everything like that. I love that. That just, that gave me goosebumps in the theaters. But yeah, as for the Shia and Megan Fox, not really.
At times they weren't bad, but other times it was just overbearing, and I just wanted to say, focus on the Transformers, on their story. Don't add this Hollywood nonsense.
Now, I do appreciate the fact that they had Bernie Mac in there as a used car salesman. I feel like he was built for that role. Unfortunately, that was, I believe, the year before he passed.
Yes.
May he rest in peace, Bernie Mac. But the Sam Witwicky's parents, they added a nice little comedic value.
Yeah, they did.
The fact that the Transformers didn't exactly know how the world worked, and just reaching through buildings and stuff like that, and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry," that was there was enough of a comedic reprieve from everything that you were entertained the entire way. The other issue I had with it is that Bumblebee was not a Volkswagen Bug. He was a Camaro.
But the new film that's coming out.
Yes, on December 21st, 2018,
watch it,
which we will watch and you will watch. Um,
And we'll do a movie on, or like a review on later on after we see the film. We'll give our 2 cents on it.
yeah.
But I'll be next season, so make
That's
sure you
next
stick around.
season. Make sure you stay for season 2 because we're pros now.
Oh yeah, we're moving up.
Yeah. We're going from slightly mediocre to slightly above mediocre.
So still below average.
Oh, definitely.
But so Wade, what's your opinion on how the cartoon, the TV show compares to the storyline and how the new films is? Because they took some creative liberties and changed some stuff, added some new stuff. And I think it turned out pretty good for the most part. Some stuff I didn't agree with, but what's your 2 cents on it?
So I think that the creative liberties that they took were really just to keep the drama for Hollywood.
Yeah.
Because in the old TV shows, they were really only after energy. They were after Energon.
Yes.
And that was really the only reason that they were here to begin with. Of course, the Transformers, the Autobots, the good guys, for those of you that don't know, but hopefully if you're watching this channel, you know the difference between Autobots and Decepticons.
There shouldn't be that very many people around who don't know. Hopefully there's not that many.
Hopefully. we can only hope.
Yeah, one can only hope.
Creed, you're my only hope.
I
know. But the thing is they kind of shifted away from that Energon plight.
Yeah, to search for
and then they went for the cube.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was something that was a creative liberty.
Yeah.
I also feel like the director was really just in it for the explosions of it all.
You all know who that is.
Yeah. It rhymes with a Schmeichel Ray. Although, if he knows who we're talking about, if he wants to sponsor us, we'll be glad to say his name and put however many explosions in our webcast as he wants. Yeah. But for now, he's Schmeichel Ray.
Schmeichel Ray.
Yeah. But I feel like had they in the later movies had they kept the Energon thing going on, then that would probably propel it through. I also feel like having the fact of there's just Sam Witwicky and Megan Fox and their thing, it seemed like the movie a lot pretty much that whole three
centered on that.
It didn't seem like the age-old Transformers that
I agree. For me, it was interesting to see how the movies progressed because we've both seen all the films up to the newest one, and with and without Sam Witwicky. I think Mark Wahlberg does a great job with adding to the franchise.
I feel like Mark Wahlberg did a better job than Shia.
He did, in my opinion.
And the thing about nothing against Shia, of course. Shia. He was great in Holes.
Yeah, Holes.
He did his thing in Even Stevens. It's just one of those things. But I feel like his acting range, it was great for the first movie because teenage kid getting his first car, kind of did that thing. But for movies furthering on, he didn't have that hero quality that everyone was kind of looking for.
I agree.
And I feel like that's one of the reasons why
they
chose Wahlberg for the newer movies. Although the first Wahlberg movie, his daughter was just that was an unneeded character.
For the films in general, my only gripe, and correct me if I'm wrong, for some of the super hardcore fans out there, was some inconsistencies with the film. So they started off small, and in any franchise, they start off with a problem, but the problem is minute compared to what they face later on.
Yeah.
And in the later films, they it affects the whole world, etc. But in the first film, it affects a city, etc.
Yeah.
Small scale. So my only gripe was for those so spoilers for those who have not seen the newest film. So the newest film kind of centers on, there's talk of bringing Cybertron to Earth and bringing it near Earth, and that will cause what's his name again? The big one. I'm drawing a blank here. I know.
Megatron?
No, not Megatron. The big one. I'm talking about the guy decides to the planet.
This makes really great.
It is going to be a webcast podcast. And y'all know this is slightly mediocre. Don't get your hopes up. Throw me a bone here, man. The big guy. Not Megatron.
I don't remember.
We'll look at. You know what? Hold on a second, y'all. Hang with me, all y'all Creed fans out there, Creedonites, Canonites.
Queedonite, hashtag Queedonites. If you watch our show, please put hashtag Queedonites in there because
Queedonites, man. Queedonites. Like croutons. You're a terrible friend.
We'll put that in the in one of the YouTube boxes, like over here. We'll put it like right there. Hashtag Queedonites. Everything you write about Slightly Mediocre needs to have hashtag Queedonites or hashtag Waitonites in there. We'll have a Facebook poll once we get our Facebook page up and running.
Which will be in the future, so make sure y'all stick around.
It's not going to be till season 3. Don't give me hope.
Yeah.
Stick with us till season 3, and then we'll have a Facebook page. We might even have T-shirts.
Oh,
yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
How about mugs? Y'all list down in the comments below what y'all think we should have, what kind of merch.
Yeah. Please put that in the comments below. And also, you guys should also tweet hashtag Queedonites for us to finally get our sponsor of something that rhymes with fountain brew. But for now, I'm drinking my fountain brew very happily.
So, back to where we were talking about.
Yeah, the big one.
The big one. Quiet, you. No, so we're talking about Unicron. So all y'all know how Unicron is like the main evil in the whole, Transformers universe. And if you followed the whole TV show, etc. But my only gripe about the movies was that how, final film, the newest one, they're talking about how Cybertron's presence causes, Unicron to emerge, which apparently now he's the Earth. So they're saying that the Earth is built around his body, or he's part of it, connected to it somehow. We're going to talk more about that in the next film, because you see like him emerging from the ground, his spikes, etc. But my gripe was in the previous film, Dark of the Moon, they had Cybertron there. They were bringing Cybertron to Earth. It was literally right above us, and you didn't see any emerging of Unicron. You didn't see him. I don't know. He was just having a bad day. Couldn't
He just didn't want to get out of bed. He had a late night the night before. He drank a little too much tequila.
You never know.
Or he drank too much fountain brew.
Yes. But you never know, and that's my only there's slight inconsistencies like that. Now that's just the one that really comes to mind at this moment. That granted, yes, there may be some loopholes, and like every film there's a loophole, but this one I was just trying to get not really over it, but I'm just thinking if you want to have a good continuity, and I guess they kind of not really fully rebooted the series after they had Shia left because they had to do a reboot because Shia had his thing that happened. Yes.
We won't mention it for
but
his
it wasn't
sake.
like a hard reboot because there was plenty of references to the previous 3 films within the stuff. So it wasn't like a hard reboot of the battle of this and that. And there were characters constantly. There was that major, that army guy that helped fight the Decepticons from the first movie.
And the thing about it is that there wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't a hard reboot. It wasn't like the Spider-Man franchise, which we'll get into next season. Because the Spider-Man franchise, we see that we had those Tobey Maguire movies that came out in the early 2000s, and then we had the reboot with Andrew Garfield, and then we had another reboot with Tom Holland. So it's just dudes, what the hell is going on?
Well, that was mainly due to the change of ownership, wasn't it? One with the Maguire and Garfield one, but Tom Holland was more because Marvel now has the rights.
It was kind of along those lines. Another thing is one thing I've noticed, and we're kind of getting off topic.
We're just spitballing.
But another thing I've noticed with the Spider-Man franchise is that they're kind of taking it in a different direction than the Andrew Garfield one wanted to go.
Yes.
Because the Andrew Garfield one, you see it, and it's just he's his own person. He's not part of the Avengers, anything like that. And then you have the Tom Holland one where he's part of the Avengers. He's kind of being encompassed in the Avengers.
Yes.
But not quite encompassed in the Avengers at the same time.
Yeah, it's kind of like how there's different.
It's a reboot, but it's not a hard reboot.
And the way I take it, there's different stories. If you look at the different storylines within the comics itself, there's different stories of how Peter Parker did this and that, how he joined Avengers, how he joined other teams.
I feel like the Tom Holland version is almost more true to the comics than the old school Tobey Maguire one.
And just this is we're really getting off topic here, but this spitball. We'll go more in depth with this later on in our Spider-Man franchise episode.
Yeah, that's next season, season 2.
Stick around. But for me, I think Tom Holland has so far done the best as Peter Parker. He's the ideal. Andrew Garfield was too cool to be freaking Peter Parker, and then
I didn't like Andrew Garfield.
But Tobey Maguire was too sappy to be Spider-Man. He was a good Peter Parker, but a bad Spider-Man. Garfield was a good Spider-Man because there's some he hit that the snarky quips. And
But
all
he
that.
was too cool to be Peter Parker.
Holland does a good job in kind of melding the both, the good traits of both. He's not perfect. He still has room to grow, but he's done a great job so far.
He's young. He's growing into the role. Versus the role growing, degrading yourself into the role.
Yes, yeah. But no,
anyway, back to Transformers.
Yeah, back to the Transformers franchise. So to wrap it up, we're both fans, and we're excited to see these new films that are coming out.
Yes, I'm super stoked to see Bumblebee.
Bumblebee looks really great from what we've seen in the trailers. Hopefully they continue in this vein where they're just focusing on one Transformer. So we might see an Optimus Prime.
Optimus Prime movie would be awesome. I feel like an Ironhide movie would be the best.
That would be pretty cool. A Hound film would be pretty hilarious.
Yeah, that would be good. Or a Jazz. That'd be hilarious.
But and also even from the other side too, a Megatron film, a Starscream film.
Even a Jetfire film, because Jetfire, as we know from the TV shows, was originally a Decepticon, and then he transferred over to an Autobot.
Yes.
So I feel like that would be a super interesting film to watch.
Yeah.
Even a film about the stupid Dinobots.
And they weren't that bad. They were pretty cool. In my opinion, my only other thing about the Transformers films was that I liked how they brought in, they named all these different Transformers, so-and-so come over here, and oh, hey, that's the guy from the TV show. And then 2 minutes later, he's dead. Or she's dead. That's my only gripe. They bumped him off too quickly. They gave him some screen time. They're oh, here's a cameo.
And then the adding of new Transformers like Skid and Mudflap.
That was unnecessary.
I feel like they were funny, sure,
they were cool,
to a point. But I feel like they didn't really play a role. There wasn't a lot of character development there, and then the fact that they aren't in any of the other Transformers movies. Where'd they go? Did they just ship themselves back off to Cybertron?
That's also part of the inconsistency is what are they one dude's in one film and the next dude what happened to this giant 50-foot tall dinosaur? He's gone?
Or are they just chilling on some Caribbean island?
Well, some of them were in the newest films. Remember, some of them with that agent. What was his name? That one, the ex-CIA agent. They were
that dude. Yeah.
So he had some Transformers with him that were just retired, if you will. Yeah. So that's I guess the way of writing them off. But as a fan of the TV series, they deserve better than just a little cameo. And he got his head
or an off-screen death or an off-screen disappearance. I feel like that's just not doing the franchise justice.
If you're gonna do that, stick to making keeping to the original characters. Don't add new characters to clutter the film. But that's just our opinion. So let us know what you all think in the comments below. What you liked about the films, what you didn't like. If you watched a TV show like us, if you had any of the toys, we both had some of the toys. We don't have them anymore. But
although we should, because they're going for prime amounts of money.
To be honest, the ones that I had were in pretty bad shape, a lot of usage, but a lot of good memories of those toys. I've always had a fun time trying to figure out how fast I can transform a transformer. But let us know what you all think. So comment, subscribe. Let us know what we should talk about next in our next films. Stick around for season 2. Make sure you all see the movie when it comes out in December. And once again, we are slightly mediocre.
And remember, hashtag
Cretinites.
Hashtag Cretinites to get Fountain Brew, or what rhymes with Fountain Brew, or what rhymes with Schmeichel Ray to come sponsor us. That'd be great.
Or anybody to sponsor us. We're broke.
Yeah, or that. We're just doing this in a garage. We could use some funding.
More Fountain Brew.
Yeah, more Fountain Brew for sure. But thanks for watching.
Stick around, y'all. Thank you.
Stick around.